Hello again, I am Blunty, and while I slept last night, the Nintendo NX transfigured itself into the Nintendo Switch. Not sure how I feel about that name, but at least it's better than Wii, and much better than Wii U. So I woke up to that news, and rather predictably I also woke up to a bunch of people asking me if I was going to talk about said news. And now that the Nintendo Switch is official, it's revealed, it's teased, we have details, we know what it looks like, we know some of the games are coming, we know sort of the general functionality of it and all that sort of stuff. Now that it's not rumour and speculation and guesswork and all that sort of stuff, I can talk about it. First thing I want to talk about it is in the reveal trailer. It starts off with a man playing a video game at home. His dog starts bothering him to go out and take a shit, so the guy takes the Switch with him and goes out into the world and proceeds to ignore his dog, which just seems like shitty behaviour to me. If you own a pet, you know, what's the point of having a pet if you're not going to pay it any attention? I mean, imagine that same situation, but with a kid. Like, there's a 5-year-old kid. Dad, can I go to the park? Dad, can I go to the park? Dad, can I go to the park? And Dad goes, yeah, fuck it, just let me grab this. I'm not that interested in playing with you, son. Just go over there and do the thing. I've got to play some Zelda. Wish I had never bloody had any kids. What fucking bother. Always infringing on my video game time. Jesus Christ. So let's talk about form factor. It is, in fact, what most of the rumours were saying. It's a hybrid sort of home portable console that has detachable things on either side for the controller, so you can put it in a dock when you're at home, connected up to your TV, and click off these things and click them on a little base and use it as a regular controller, and reverse the process to take it out into the world with you. And you can take it out and you can set it up on a little kickstand and play it with the controller that way, or you can separate two controllers for two different people to play basic two-player games with reduced control schemes on either side. Basically, what's happening here is Nintendo have officially surrendered the fight to the kings of home console gaming, that being PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, thrown their hands up into the air and said, well, you know what, we've tried and we've tried and we've tried, there's no way we can compete with those guys. I mean, we tell people we're not even trying to compete with them, but we actually are, because we're in the same market, and by default, logical explanation of that situation, we are directly competing with them. But no, we can't beat them, so let's pretend we're not competing with them, we're doing something different over here. But now, they've officially given up on that fight. Now, they've turned their face to their true enemy, that being mobile devices, mobile phones, tablets and sort of stuff, because that is where the vast majority of casual gaming takes place in this day and age, and Nintendo want that casual gaming market. They want to capture the general person, not the quote-unquote hardcore gamer types. They want that broad market. They want the Angry Birds player, the Bejeweled player, the I don't know, the Flappy Bird player, you know, the type of people who play games on their mobile phone but don't sort of self-identify as a gamer. That's who they're trying to capture, trying to pull in and turn in to something slightly more of a gamer, so they can sell the more advanced games like the big Mario products and all that sort of stuff. Which is a bit of an aside, is also why we're finally seeing Mario on mobile devices with that free-running Mario jump game, whatever they're friggin' calling it. That sort of stuff is the bait to try and get people into that world of Nintendo games, and then try desperately to drag them across to the Nintendo Switch. And I'm being slightly snarky about it, but it is a very, very strong competitor to mobile game. I mean, yes, you have to buy an entirely separate device. You just can't do it on the device you already own. So that's a barrier to entry right there that's inherent in the battle that Nintendo are fighting. But it is a superior experience on both sides of the fence. You can, you know, it's designed to plug instantly into TV. Yes, you can do that with your mobile phones, but it's not something that's sort of out-of-the-box functionality. You usually have to get some sort of adapter or, you know, some sort of wireless functionality, and you need another device on the other end to do that. But with the Nintendo Switch, it is a superior gaming experience, both connected and disconnected. And it will have, I predict, several features to sort of encourage people to look at this as their social mobile gaming type device. So one of those being, we saw in the trailer, local multiplayer with multiple devices. So you bring your Nintendo Switch, and you bring your Nintendo Switch, and you bring your Nintendo Switch. We'll all sit in a little circle around the coffee table, have a few beers, and we'll play some Mario Kart. That sounds fantastic. I love the thought of that, because one of the things Nintendo do really well is that kind of group party game experience. Something that does worry me about the design and form factor is moving parts. The controllers connect and disconnect, and presumably most people will be doing that fairly often. Myself, I don't tend to game that much when I'm out in the world, because I'm often doing other stuff when I'm out in the world, you know, talking to people or listening to my podcasts or just walking around and stuff like that. So mine will probably stay connected most of the time, but presumably, at least some people will be connecting and disconnecting them on a fairly regular basis, particularly young kids, I would predict, taking to their friend's place and doing that local multiplayer stuff. And here's the thing, Nintendo have never been particularly good at moving parts. Every portable device they've ever had, with a hinge, for example, all you have to do is Google for it. There are many reports of that hinge in all its various forms and on different devices. Everything from, when was the first time I used the hinge? But the Game Boy SP, I suppose. Game & Watch. But the Nintendo SP, the Nintendo DS, the Nintendo 3DS, through all its various forms and sort of upgrades and evolutions and all that sort of stuff, every single time that hinge has been an issue for a lot of people. So I am slightly concerned that connection system, which we haven't really seen a close-up of, and what the latching mechanism actually is. Is it spring-based? Is it friction-based? What's going on there? Is it magnets? If it's magnets, we should be fine. If it's some sort of mechanical connection, I'm a bit worried. The kickstand on the back, a little kickstand so you can sit on the desk or your airplane tray table or whatnot, that concerns me too, because I've seen exactly that kind of kickstand on tablets before, and it's never particularly inspiring as far as construction quality goes. And oh my god, the rumor was true, it uses cartridges, which is kind of ridiculous that kept being a rumor that was re-reported and re-reported and re-reported and re-reported every sort of 2 weeks or so, because there was nothing else to talk about when it came to the Nintendo NX, now Nintendo Switch. But of course, it was going to use cartridges. It was a mobile device. There's no point putting a moving disc in that thing. There's been someone who tried that already and it was a complete disaster. They sort of sidestepped and moved away from it as quickly as they could. So of course it was always going to use cartridges. And cartridges isn't something, from the deep dark past of gaming that they're resurrecting. Nintendo have always used cartridges in their mobile devices. It's not a new, spectacular, groundbreaking thing. It's what they had to do because it is a mobile device. Also note with great delight and glee, there was no waggling at all in the teaser trailer. So it wouldn't surprise me if those controllers still had some motion sensing stuff in them. I wouldn't be horribly shocked, but it's something that they're not focusing on. Because, I think people are kind of bored with that particular gimmick. It never worked particularly well in most games that tried to, staple it on there. So, traditional controllers all the way. Twin analog thumbsticks, 2 sets of buttons, one sort of hybrid D-pad 4-button layout thing and one traditional 4-button layout. 2 shoulder buttons and 2 trigger buttons up the top. The traditional controller layout. And it does look like it will be a comfortable controller. It's got a nice sort of deep aspect to it, which is good for presumably big hands like mine. It seems like it will be a comfortable controller on first blush, whether or not it's on the side of the screen or in that little... I'm not sure whether that sort of bit in the middle of the controller is just some sort of blank to hold it in place, or it's some sort of extra booster battery to keep the controllers going. We don't know about that yet. I also noticed that they're keeping the Wii U Pro controller alive in their trailers, which is fantastic news because that is a really, really good controller, and I'm kind of disappointed that I never got to use it much because there was bugger all worth playing on the Wii U, but I did love that controller. Fantastic battery life, terrific feel to it, but presumably they're going to rename it at some point so they can distance themselves from the humongous cloud of stink and the stench of failure that is the Wii U. So they'll probably be calling it the Switch Pro controller from now on in, I would presume. But now we come to the all-important question of power. I don't think anybody was really expecting them to go full hog and try and match the power of the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, or even PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One S, or the whatever comes next from those companies, the Scorpio and all that sort of stuff. No one was ever expecting that to happen. Nintendo sort of live in their own arrogant little bubble and pretending they don't have competition. But they were apparently targeting 1080p, 60 frames per second when connected to your TV, and I don't think this has been officially confirmed anywhere, but sources say, quote unquote, that the screen, when you're mobile, is 900p, which seems like an odd resolution to pick for a mobile screen, but whatever. But the good news on the power side of the equation is it's powered by a customized version of NVIDIA's Tegra chips, a chip that has been designed from the ground up to be a powerful mobile gaming chip. A chip designed by industry leaders. I mean, they are the word in PC gaming and have been for quite some time now. Yes, they have competition out there, and yes, they have some good competition out there, which is great for all of us because it keeps the big boys honest and keeps prices down and all that kind of competitive. But it's not a matter of fanboy opinion when I say that NVIDIA cards, like the one in that machine back there, do dominate the PC gaming landscape. But the point I'm trying to make is the chip inside the Nintendo Switch is designed, made, built by people who really, really understand the needs of high-end gaming. It is in fact the same family of chip, the Tegra, that lives inside NVIDIA's own mobile gaming products, the NVIDIA Shield TV, that kind of stuff. And I have, while I don't own those units, I have been hands-on with those units many times now, and they are very powerful, surprisingly powerful. Playing games on the NVIDIA Shield tablet, for example, which is basically, I guess we can consider it now kind of a prototype Nintendo Switch, was a very, very pleasant experience. And also the Tegra line of chips were specifically made to be power friendly because they were, again, made from the ground up to be gaming chips for portable devices, so they're very sort of kind on the power, which means we should get decent battery life. Now, neither NVIDIA or Nintendo have yet specified which flavor of Tegra chip this is, because it might be sort of a souped-up version of the Maxwell-style chip that already exists in the NVIDIA Shield product line, or, hopefully, it will be the Pascal-based Tegra chips. Hopefully it will be the Pascal-based Tegra chip, if only for the significantly better power efficiency there. That chip will make the battery last longer. I'm going to refer to my list right now so I don't forget anything. The games revealed so far were Splatoon, Legend of Zelda Breath of Wind, which always sounds like a code word for Legend of Zelda farts to me. I know there are a lot of Zelda fans out there. I'm not one of them. I'm just not that interested in it. Don't make me explain why. That's just a ridiculous conversation I'm tired of having. NBA, who cares about that? Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Yeah. A non-first party title. I mean, yes, it is a game that's already a couple of years old, but it is about to get a refresh in the special edition and whatnot, which I will be playing, because I didn't play it the first time around, but I will be playing the special edition on, my PC rig back there. The other games, Mario, Mario Kart, obvious to see those on a new Nintendo console. Here's the thing, though. It is no secret that Nintendo have been on my shit list for quite some time now, for a variety of reasons, not least of which is how they treat people like me here on YouTube. Because, for example, I did a review of the Mario Kart game on the Wii U, Mario Kart, 7? Fantastic review, even if I do say so myself. And it was a review that had, Nintendo Australia's stamp of approval. It was a review based on a game disc they sent to me for the purposes of review as, a media influencer type guy. They said, here's a copy of this game, go make a review of it. So that's what I did, and I did the review and I put it up there, and within a few months Nintendo decided that my review, my opinions, my gameplay, my expressions of how I felt about the game was their property, because it was about their game. That is not how shit works, Nintendo, and I've had this rant many times, and I'm not going to really dig into it here, but that really pissed me off. They claimed via a DMCA, via copyright, that my work, my review, was their property, and they should be getting the ad revenue from it. No. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. From then on in, I cut off all contact with Nintendo. I told them to jump clear up their own asses. I stopped all Nintendo coverage as far as reviews of their games go. I still love my Pokemon games, of course, because you can tear those from a cold dead hands, and that's not strictly speaking a Nintendo property. I mean, Nintendo do own a chunk of it, but it's Game Freak as far as I'm concerned, so But here's the crux of the point I'm trying to drive at. When it comes to covering the Nintendo Switch, and I do intend to cover it, and I do intend to own one, because it seems like an enticing product that should be very interesting. I will probably not, unless and until Nintendo reverse their stance on how they treat reviewers on YouTube, amongst other things. I will not be covering first-party titles, I don't think, because I don't want to have Nintendo come and say, oh, your review of our game? That's our property. We get to earn money from that, not you. I mean, yes, it's all your work and you worked it, it's your opinion and you're on camera talking about it, it's your voice and everything, but no, that's ours, because you talked about our game, so therefore it's ours. No! So my standing rule from this point moving forward, unless things change, and hopefully they do, it's just a new product, a new chapter. I'm willing to give Nintendo the benefit of the doubt and give them a chance here to not be dicks. But, standing rule for now. I won't be doing their first-party game titles and stuff, particularly here on YouTube. I may talk about announcements and trailers and stuff like that, but I'm going to be super careful about how I handle all that. I certainly won't be doing any reviews of their stuff. But as far as I'm concerned, third-party stuff is open game, and they are sort of actively courting third-party game developers this time around, because I think they've finally learned their fucking lesson that Nintendo first-party titles aren't enough to keep a system alive. It's just not. So with Bethesda bringing Skyrim to the Nintendo Switch and a big list of developers out there sort of working on stuff for the Nintendo Switch, it is, for now, promising as far as third-party support goes. And we already know that there is a Pokemon game coming for the Nintendo Switch from Game Freak, the people responsible for the core RPG series. We don't yet know whether that game coming for the Nintendo Switch will be a core RPG series game. They haven't said anything about it other than we're working on it. But I didn't expect them to make an announcement about that game at this point, because they are a few weeks away from launching the new 3DS game, Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. They don't want to overshadow that in any way. So I wouldn't expect to hear anything about Pokemon Switch, that's mine, trademarked, copyright, for at least, well, probably not until next year, actually. So now that things are all official, I am looking forward to learning more about the Nintendo Switch as things roll out between now and March 2017. March? Yeah, March 2017, when their release is actually slated. So like I said, Nintendo has been, and still is, on my shit list for now, but I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt here. I'm not going to bring my bias to the coverage of the Nintendo Switch. I'm going to give it a fair go. And I'm going to hope that the grey-skinned suits at Nintendo decide to not be dickbags to the people who influence their customer base. Because that's how gaming works these days. People aren't reading video game magazines anymore to get reviews. They're coming to YouTube to see people do reviews, do Let's Plays, and talk about it, and do little gaming segments. And, you know, this is where people come to find out whether they want to invest their money in a game. So treating YouTubers like shit probably isn't a good plan for them going forward if they really do actually want Nintendo Switch to be a success. But there you go. That is my rambling impressions, my reaction to the Nintendo Switch reveal. You asked, I told. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I'm sure this will not be, by a long shot, the last video I make about the Nintendo Switch before March 2017. Thank you for watching. I am Blunty, and we'll catch you next time.